One of the biggest questions surrounding the New England Patriots has finally been answered right before the start of training camp. When the Patriots signed Stefon Diggs just a couple of months ago in free agency to a 3-year deal, he was brought in to be that security blanket for Drake Maye, to take him and this Patriots offense under Josh McDaniels to the next level, to hopefully give them a wide receiver one that they truly have not had since Randy Moss. And Patriots fans, with training camp starting tomorrow, that big question we had about Diggs, will he be able to go for training camp, is officially answered. Now, a few days ago, we heard which players for the Patriots were going to start training camp on the non-football injury list and also the PUP list. So just to go over that real quick, updating you guys for training camp starting tomorrow. The guys that will be starting on the PUP list, the physically unable to perform list, which, by the way, players can be put on there or removed at any time. This is not like the injured reserve. But you have Matt Collins, Austin Hooper, Vidarian Lowe, and Jelani Tavai. As for the non-football injury list, you have Carlton Davis, Josh Minkins, and Jeremiah Webb. The biggest takeaway for this really wasn't who is on this list, but the biggest takeaway is who is not on the list, and that is Stefon Diggs, who just, 9-10 months ago, late October with the Houston Texans during the 2024 season, tore his ACL. Guys, this is a very, very reminiscent injury from Kendrick Bourne. We talked about that ad nauseum on this channel. That's why, for me, back when they were going to sign Stefon Diggs, I said, look, if he can be ready for week one, that's great. Is that my expectation? No. Because while every player is different, these types of injuries, these ACL injuries, tend to take a year to come back from. And even coming back in that first year, it can be a little difficult. With Kendrick Bourne, we originally heard, okay, well, yeah, he tore his ACL in late October, but he should be good to go for training camp. Didn't participate in training camp at all. He should be good to go week one. He ends up missing the first 4 weeks of the season. And I said, that is the timeline I'm going to base Stefon Diggs off of until he shows me that it's going to be different. And this entire offseason, I think he showed not just me, not just the team, not just Mike Vrabel, but he showed all of Pat's Nation just how motivated he is, how serious he is in coming back from the injury. I mean, he is grinded with his rehabilitation process all offseason long, taking it more serious. And I'm not saying this lightly. I'm not saying this just because he's a Patriots player, but I've never seen a player rehab and take it as serious as Stefon Diggs has throughout this entire offseason. And from what it sounds like, Mike Vrabel is saying the same thing. When he was asked about Stefon Diggs not being on the PUP list, entering training camp, he said, and I quote, "I don't see any limitations right now. It's just a testament to how hard he has worked." Now, Vrabel did also note that with Stefon Diggs, he's not going to take every single rep in training camp, but he is ready to roll with the team. Now, while this is great news for the Patriots and great news for us Patriots fans, I would still tell all of Pat's Nation to just be a little bit wary. Don't take this and run with it, expecting Stefon Diggs to put up 1,400 yards this season. Let's understand who he was even before going down with that injury with Houston. You know, back in his days with Buffalo, where he was putting up 1,400 yards every single year, he was an intermediate to deep threat. Stefon Diggs at this point, especially last year for Houston, he was a guy that was averaging somewhere between 9 to 11 yards per reception. He was more of a chain mover. He's going to operate more short to intermediate. He's going to be a security blanket, but what he's not going to be is this deep threat. Now, I'm not telling you he's never going to break a play off for a big gain, or he's never going to have a big reception downfield, but we have to understand that who he is at this point in his career is going to be that chain mover in Josh McDaniels' offense. I would even go as far as to say is that the Stefon Diggs that we see right now in training camp, the Diggs that we see the first month of football, is not going to be the Stefon Diggs that we see as the season progresses, when you get into November, when you get into December, because again, coming back from these ACL injuries, it can be difficult. For some players, it takes an entire year. Let's keep in mind, it's been, again, about 9-10 months since he's really played football, so it's going to be a bit of a ramp-up period for Diggs also. Nonetheless, though, even if the Patriots can get 90% of what Diggs was before going down with that injury with Houston last year, I'd consider that a big win, and that's easily the best wide receiver that the Patriots have had in years. Really, 2019 Julian Edelman went for over 100 catches and over 1,000 yards. Real quick, just looking back on these numbers for Diggs this past season with Houston, overall grade of 79 according to PFF, a receiving grade of 79.7. That is just under an elite grade for them. You look at his targets, 62 targets, 47 receptions, 496 yards, and 3 receiving touchdowns. Let's also remember that he was averaging 10.6 yards per reception, so he was averaging just over a first down per reception, and CJ Stroud had an astounding 108 passer rating when targeting Stefon Diggs. Now, some people don't like the whole what he was on pace to do. People only care about what he did. But for whatever it is worth, Diggs was on pace with Houston last year to put up over 100 catches and over 1,000 yards. He's now going to be in a system like New England where immediately, straight off the bat, week 1, he is going to be the number 1 wide receiver. And he's going to be the number 1 wide receiver from week 1 all the way to the end of the season. And I don't think people understand just how big it is for Stefon Diggs to have been present for some of the OTA practices in spring, to have been there for mandatory minicamp, and now to be here for training camp, to be here for the joint practices, because a lot of people gave flack to somebody like Kendrick Bourne, who again was coming off of the same injury last year. But with him, he didn't get to practice in the new system with Alex Van Pelt. He never got to practice with Drake Maye. He wasn't there in spring practices. He wasn't there in joint practices. He wasn't there in training camp. He wasn't there in the preseason. So for Kendrick Bourne, his first opportunity to learn with Drake Maye, to learn in the system and build that chemistry was week 5 when the entire league was already in the thick of the season. For Stefon Diggs, it's going to be different. He doesn't have to play pickup. He can immediately cement himself in this offense, build the chemistry with Drake Maye, build the chemistry with the rest of the offense, which is going to allow this offense to fire on all cylinders so much quicker than people are expecting. So instead of this offense hitting its stride in late November, early December, maybe this offense starts hitting its stride within the first month of football now that they're getting all guys on the same page right before the start of the season. We know that Stefon Diggs is the type of wide receiver that can elevate young quarterbacks. He did the exact thing for Josh Allen. And while, again, Stefon Diggs isn't what he was back in the day for Buffalo, Stefon Diggs understands the type of receiver that he is. He understands the mentor, security blanket role that he's going to serve. And if he can do with Drake Maye what he did for Josh Allen, then no matter if Stefon Diggs is here for a year, 2 years, 3 years, no matter if he puts up 1,400 yards or 900 yards, that is an absolute win for the Patriots. But this is why I kick it off to you guys. What are your thoughts on Stefon Diggs expected to be a full go for the New England Patriots for the start of training camp? Let me know in the comment section below. One thing I will tell you guys too is that just because he's not on the PUP list, the physically unable to perform list right now, doesn't mean that he can't potentially be added. This could always be one of those situations where they feel and he feels that he's ready to take that next step, but maybe we get into camp and after a few days they realize maybe he's not ready and he gets thrown back on that PUP list. So while we hope that doesn't happen, let's just take this with a grain of salt and take everything one step at a time. But this is where I kick it to you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Leave a big like on the video and subscribe to the channel for all your New England Patriots news. Training camp is here, football is back, and we are going to have you guys covered for everything happening. Recaps of every day of practice, winners and losers for the preseason. Football is back into the thick of it, and this is your one-stop shop for everything involving your New England Patriots. But until next time, I'm Colby Cochran, also known as Patriots Global. Go Pats.